Today, we are going to discuss the Meiji Restoration, which began on January 3, 1868, and marked a fundamental turning point in Japan's history. Named after Emperor Meiji, who ascended the throne as a teenager, the Meiji, or Enlightened Rule era, was defined by rapid modernization, political restructuring, and economic transformation. The seeds of the Meiji Restoration were sown during the Tokugawa era, 1600 to 1868. The Tokugawa shogunate, established by Tokugawa Ieyasu, brought stability to Japan for over 250 years. The government maintained strict control over the daimyo, feudal lords, through the policy of sankin kotai, or alternate attendance, which required them to spend every other year in Edo, Tokyo. This system reinforced centralized authority, stimulated economic activity, and encouraged cultural exchange. Despite this stability, by the 19th century, economic stagnation, social unrest, and the rise of powerful regional domains such as Satsuma and Choshu created conditions ripe for change. Japan's long-standing policy of isolation, sakoku, was challenged in the mid-19th century by increasing Western pressure. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States Navy arrived in Japan with a fleet of warships demanding the opening of Japanese ports to foreign trade. The resulting Treaty of Kanagawa in 1854 forced Japan to open its doors, leading to the erosion of shogunal authority. Western powers, including Britain, France, and Russia, soon followed with their own demands, and unequal treaties imposed restrictions on Japan's sovereignty, such as limited tariff control and extraterritoriality. The Tokugawa shogunate's decision to accommodate foreign demands ignited widespread opposition. The shishi, men of spirit, a group of lower-ranked samurai, launched violent attacks against foreigners and pro-shogunate officials. Anti-Tokugawa sentiment grew, particularly in the Satsuma and Choshu domains, which began military reforms and sought alliances to challenge the shogunate's rule. By the mid-1860s, Choshu was under anti-Tokugawa control, and Satsuma had also aligned against the central government. The final blow to the Tokugawa regime came in the form of the Boshin War, 1868 to 1869, a civil conflict between the shogunate's forces and the anti-Tokugawa coalition. Tokugawa Yoshinobu, the last shogun, attempted to negotiate a power-sharing agreement, but ultimately resigned in 1867. However, the pro-imperial forces, led by figures like Saigo Takamori and Iwakura Tomomi, launched a coup in early 1868, seizing power in the name of Emperor Meiji. Despite initial resistance, Tokugawa loyalists were defeated, and Edo was peacefully surrendered, marking the formal end of shogunal rule. The new Meiji government, composed mainly of young and pragmatic leaders from the victorious domains, moved swiftly to consolidate power. The feudal domain system was abolished in 1871, and the Han domains were replaced with centrally controlled prefectures. The Charter Oath of 1868 was a 5-article statement issued by Emperor Meiji to outline the principles of the new government after the fall of the Tokugawa shogunate. It served as the foundation for Japan's modernization and democratization during the Meiji Restoration. The samurai class, which had long been Japan's ruling elite, was dismantled, and their stipends were gradually replaced with government bonds. The government promoted a new national identity under the slogan Fukoku Kyohei, rich country, strong military, emphasizing economic growth and military expansion. Determined to modernize Japan, Meiji leaders actively studied Western institutions. The Iwakura Mission, 1871 to 1873, led by Iwakura Tomomi, sent officials to the United States and Europe to observe political, military, and economic structures. Western experts, known as yatoi, were hired to train Japanese professionals in fields such as engineering, medicine, and education. Western-style legal codes, banking systems, and postal services were introduced. Even cultural aspects, such as Western attire and ballroom dancing, gained popularity in urban centers. Education became a cornerstone of modernization. The 1872 Education Act established a nationwide school system, making primary education compulsory. Western scientific knowledge and technology were integrated into curricula. while Confucian ethics continued to shape moral instruction. The abolition of the class system allowed greater social mobility, and new career paths emerged in government and industry. Economic reforms were central to the Meiji Transformation. The government invested in infrastructure, building railways, telegraph lines, and modern ports. The adoption of a Western-style banking system facilitated industrial growth. The government also supported zaibatsu, large family-controlled industrial conglomerates like Mitsui and Mitsubishi, which played a crucial role in Japan's economic expansion. The adoption of modern machinery and production techniques in textiles, shipbuilding, and steel industries propelled Japan into the industrial age. Military modernization was another priority. The Meiji government introduced universal conscription in 1873, replacing the samurai-based military with a modern army modeled after Prussia's. Western-style weaponry and training methods were adopted, and a new navy was built with British assistance. This military strength allowed Japan to assert itself regionally, leading to later conflicts such as the Sino-Japanese War, 1894 to 1895. Despite rapid progress, not all segments of society accepted these changes. The most notable resistance came from disaffected samurai, culminating in the Satsuma Rebellion of 1877, led by Saigo Takamori. The samurai, frustrated by the loss of their status and privileges, took up arms against the government. However, the rebellion was crushed after intense battles, solidifying the government's control and marking the end of the samurai era. The Meiji government sought to establish a constitutional monarchy to gain international respect and stabilize internal governance. After years of deliberation, the Meiji Constitution was promulgated in 1889, creating a bicameral legislature, the Diet, while maintaining significant power for the emperor. The new system balanced elements of Western parliamentary democracy with Japan's imperial traditions. The Meiji reforms transformed Japan into a global power. The country's modernized military and economy enabled it to renegotiate unequal treaties and pursue imperial ambitions. Japan's victory in the Sino-Japanese War, 1894 to 1895, demonstrated its military strength and marked its emergence as a dominant force in East Asia. Several personalities played a key role during the Meiji period. Saigo Takamori was a key samurai leader who played a crucial role in overthrowing the Tokugawa shogunate. However, he later opposed the new government's reforms and led the Satsuma Rebellion, ultimately dying in battle and becoming a symbol of samurai resistance. Ito Hirobumi became Japan's first prime minister and played a key role in drafting the Meiji Constitution, 1889, establishing a constitutional monarchy. He also helped modernize Japan's industry, government, and foreign policy, ensuring Japan's place as a global power. Okubo Toshimichi was one of the most powerful figures in the Meiji government and led efforts to modernize Japan's economy. He championed industrialization, infrastructure development, and centralized political authority, but was assassinated due to opposition from conservative samurai. The Meiji Restoration officially ended with Emperor Meiji's death on July 30, 1912, marking the transition to the Taisho era under his successor, Emperor Taisho. The period had successfully transformed Japan from a feudal society into a modern, industrialized nation with a centralized government, a strong military, and a growing economy. When the Meiji period ended, Japan had 1. A highly centralized bureaucratic government, 2. A constitution establishing an elected parliament, 3. A well-developed transport and communication system, 4. A highly educated population free of feudal class restrictions, 5. An established and rapidly growing industrial sector based on the latest technology, and 6. A powerful army and navy. But by the early 20th century, Japan had emerged as a major world power, demonstrated by its victory in the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, and its expansion into Korea, which it formally annexed in 1910. Japan's victory in the Russo-Japanese War proved its military strength, making it the first Asian nation to defeat a Western power.